Today is the 15th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Cycle C. As disciples, we must be shining examples of God's love and compassion and be teachers of the truth. The wisdom of God is not only for our individual benefit, but must be shared with others. It is our duty to spread the teachings of Christ and to let everyone know that they are special in the eyes of God. They are His adopted sons and daughters through Jesus Christ. As Christians, we follow the commands of Jesus. In today's gospel, He sends His apostles to evangelize not just some, but all of the towns of Israel. Before His ascension, He told all His disciples to preach His gospel to all nations. We need to ask ourselves whether we are failing in our duty to teach the gospel of Christ, the good news on how to create a society of peace and justice on earth. Most Catholics do not know the Bible and therefore know very little of Christ or what to do. If you ask me what to do until you learn more about Christ, my answer will be just practice the works of mercy. We evangelize more effectively by our actions than by our words. There are 7 corporal works of mercy and 7 spiritual works of mercy. The corporate works are: feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, comfort the imprisoned, visit the sick, pray for the living and the dead. The spiritual works of mercy are: admonish the sinner, instruct the uninformed, counsel the doubtful, comfort the sorrowful, be patient with those in error, forgive offenses, and pray for the living and the dead. Today's readings speak to us about various aspects of our above-mentioned Christian duties. In the first reading, Amos warns the northern kingdom of their impending destruction because of their greed, unjust ways, and idolatry. Very few people can accept criticism, even honest criticism. How do you react when somebody points out your error or your sins? The reading tells us that the sin of spiritual deafness can have dire consequences. A Messiah, a priest of the royal court, tells Amos to stop prophesying and to go away, telling him to return to the southern kingdom from whence he came. The reply of Amos is that he is not a professional prophet, implying he's not seeking any monetary gain or was not a member of a prophetic guild at his group of prophets. But he was a simple shepherd and a fruit picker. Those were the lowliest jobs around. Sat with the field with the sheep during the cold months, and you pick fruit in the summer months. He told Amaziah he was sent by God to warn the people. In 722 BCE, the Assyrians completely destroyed the northern kingdom and sent the inhabitants into exile and resettled the land with all the captives from other nations. The destruction of the northern kingdom happened almost 50 years after Amos' prophecies. There are consequences when we fail to heed God's warnings. God gives us lots of time to change our ways, but if our sinful ways persist, calamity will happen. We do not have forever. We have to act on warnings. Our Catholic doctrine states that human life, from conception to natural death, is sacred and precious, therefore protected by the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," which is really perfected in "Thou shalt not murder." As a soldier, and there were many wars before, you had to kill. "Thou shalt not kill" refers to "Thou shalt not murder." The pro-life movement was started in response to a high court ruling, Roe and Wade, which made abortion legal. Does the High Court ever make bad decisions? In 1857, in the Dred Scott case, a slave was declared property and not a citizen, and therefore the owner could do with his property as he wished. Angered by this decision, the Republican Party was formed to end slavery. 4 years later, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president to be elected. Fearing he would abolish slavery, the Confederate States attacked the Union States shortly after his inauguration. Some argue that the child in the womb is part of the mother's property, part of her body, and not a separate entity, and therefore she can dispose of the child in the womb if and when she wants. Everyone knows that the child in the womb contributes to changes in the body of the mother. At times, the mother can even become ill. The mother and child are separate entities. The factors that influence this poor decision in Roe and Wade by the High Court: first, the waitress from Texas claimed that she had been raped by a black man. She gave birth to a child before the High Court decision was reached, and the child was white. The father turned out to be a male bartender and a co-worker of the mother. 2, the Mayo Clinic told the judges that for the first 3 months, there was just a mass of tissue in the womb. Today, after 3 months, an ultrasound machine shows an outline of a baby, and heartbeat can be detected. There were fears stirring of overpopulation of the world. It was claimed that when the world population reached 6 billion, there will be wars over food. Well, in 2019, the world population reached 7.7 billion, and there was no war over food. In a second case, Roe and Wade allowed abortion within the first 3 months, with the exception where the health of the mother was at stake. In a separate case, it is ruled that the health of the mother should include her mental health. Because any form of anxiety is considered a health issue, today a baby can be aborted the day before he or she is about to be born. This procedure for late-term abortion is called D and X, dilate and extract. The child is delivered feet first. Why? Until his head is outside the womb, he is not considered to have been born. Close your ears if you don't want to know how this procedure is done. Close your ears. Cover your ears. A powerful suction pump in the shape of an oversized injection needle with an angled slope point is forced in the back of the baby's head. His brains and all other matter in his head is sucked out, and with the skull crushed, the dead baby drops out. This horrible and inhuman procedure must stop. All abortions are still simple, but can be reduced by less promiscuity, the promise of care and support by fathers. Yes, many times the mother makes her decision on economic circumstances. Without the support of a father, it would be very difficult. And the education of what is an abortion. It is more than a simple medical procedure. Amos felt compelled to tell the truth of the corruption in the northern kingdom, which Amaziah and the other false prophets did like, and therefore threatened him and wanted to run him out of town. As Christians, we have to tell the truth, whether people like it or dislike it. Slavery was wrong, but half of the country, that is the southern half, agreed with it. This issue had to be settled by a civil war. I disagree with the current statement going around that all white people are inherently racist, even if they don't know it. Over 300,000 white Union soldiers died to end slavery. People do not die for a cause that is not deep in their hearts. Abortion is wrong. Please do not be on the wrong side of Christ and his teachings.